Welcome to Marketing MASH, brought to you by themarketingscope.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Vidal. Welcome to the Marketing MASH, our video series brought to you by The Marketing Scope. I have Mark Smith with me, founder of KeywordFirst, a digital agency here in Chicago, and it's very lovely here in Chicago today.
Yeah.
It's nice and gray with some,
as always,
some speckles of silver coming down. It looks like
absolutely,
rain.
Yeah.
So, Mark, tell me, how long has your agency been around?
We've been around for 10 years. I formed the company with my partner, Kurt Anagostopoulos, back in 2005. We were both working at Grainger, where we formed the first search engine marketing group for that Fortune 500 company. And we recognized that there was a need in the market for people who knew what they were doing in search engine marketing and digital marketing. Sure.
And so you just focused on digital, right?
Yep, we're purely digital, so that includes things like our core strength is paid search, paid social, remarketing, display, things of that nature. So it's purely online.
Yeah, and you have clients all over the country. But today we want to focus about retail organizations and dealing with analytics for retail. Yep. So kind of set that up for us a little bit.
Yeah, so obviously retail depends very heavily on digital marketing. And one of the things that we've noticed over the years, as many retailers have, is that it's a very competitive space. And it's becoming harder and harder to get a positive return on your advertising spend. And so, I think that the analytics portion of the online channel has become increasingly important. Yeah. And one of the things we're finding is over half the clients out there don't really use analytics the way that they should be. And so that's I think a big surprise for people.
Yeah, we have a section, did you know? And so I think that's a big did you know. Did you know that more than half are missing out? I mean, that's pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that everyone has an analytics program, whether it's Google Analytics or Adobe or Site Catalyst or something along those lines. But a lot of people just have them there, and occasionally they'll pull some data out of it, but they're not really using it to help improve their digital programs.
Well, analytics is so important for any marketer, but for retail, you want to be looking at this every day, every few hours, and making adjustments in real time, right? I mean, you could you can start off on a morning campaign and it could adjust in 2 hours because, you're talking e-commerce sites, you're talking retail, a lot of movement, a lot of change. Is that what you're seeing out there?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of movement, and just think of a retailer in general who, they're introducing new products constantly, or the competitors are changing constantly, and the paid search auctions are changing constantly. So there's a lot of movement within retail, and so I think to better leverage the analytics is really, I think, I don't want to call it the next frontier because the information is out there, but understanding how to use that information within the analytics to better their performance in the paid media space is very important.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back to a blog post that you wrote recently, and you kind of set up with some fundamentals of analytics. And it talks about, I mentioned earlier with retail, it's very fluid, and you can make changes every hour, every couple hours, every few minutes, but you can't make those changes unless you have the basic principles that I read in your blog about the analytics package. You have to have the basic principles before you can make those changes and moves, right? And so it's a key fundamental. It's a starting block, right?
It is, yeah. And you definitely have to have an understanding of what you're looking at and then how to use that information to make your campaigns perform better. So there are some basic analytics metrics, some key performance indicators that really, just to start with, you can get pretty complicated with these things, but some of the things we talked about in that blog are things like your landing page bounce rate. People have heard of that metric, but how do you use that? How do you use a metric like not only bounce rate, but time spent on the website or time spent on the page? Those kinds of things are indicators that something is going right, or maybe something is going wrong. You can have a baseline of metrics for all of your other pages on your website, and maybe you find a new product that you've rolled out. Maybe you have a new landing page, and for some reason it has a much higher bounce rate. Well, that's an indication that maybe we need to take another look at that page, because if you're driving a lot of paid search traffic to a landing page like that, you're spending a lot of money. And in order to get your money back and to make a profit from it, you need to know how it's performing, and if it's not performing well, you need to take steps to change that. So things like, so go back to that bounce rate. You're looking for those pages where people are coming to that page and just leaving immediately.
Yeah. So real quick, we'll have a link at the bottom of this video, so you can actually go and look at that blog and take a look at some of those fundamentals. But can you give us an example of, and you don't have to name the company if you don't want to, but give us an example of one or two of your recent clients and how you're able to help performance by looking at the analytics, and maybe mention a couple of the ones that you had called out.
Yep, exactly. So we're working with one of the largest online retailers of contact lenses. And we had several different landing pages that had been out there, frankly, for quite some time. And as we were trying to push more product from those landing pages, we realized, looking into the analytics, that those pages weren't performing as well as some of the other pages on the website. So, we looked for some, I guess, internal best practices on what pages were converting well. And we used some of that same template, if you will, and we redesigned some of the landing pages. And we've seen that our conversion rates have gone up 25% on those new landing pages that we've just started to test. So it's not quite where we need it to be, but we feel that we've used data from analytics to understand what's worked, and then used it on some of those new landing pages to convert clients better.
Well, 25%, that's pretty good job.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Did you know?
Well, I think that as we look in the future, we've been hearing a lot about mobile and its role, and how more searches are performed or started on a mobile device than a desktop. So that's finally come to fruition. And so I think that as retailers start to think about ways to convert customers at a higher rate, I think that mobile piece is huge now. And so maybe the did you know is now we finally crossed that threshold of more searches are on mobile. And so being able to design a page, a page with a better mobile experience than perhaps they've had before, I think that's very important.
Yeah, well, I was here joining our visiting our Chicago office here. I made 2 searches this morning already. Actually 3, but 2 I'll mention. One is Starbucks on my mobile, and then where to find an umbrella. So,
right. You always need an umbrella here in Chicago, or snow boots.
Yeah, so that's my first day on the job here in Chicago. So Mark, this was some great information you shared with us, but really it's just a high level. I mean, to go a little deeper, obviously we'll have a link to the article, and we'll have your URL to your website is keywordfirst.com.
Yep.
Keywordfirst.com. And then you also have an event coming up in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, right here in Chicago. We'll be at the IRCE show at McCormick Place. It's a big show for retailers, and we have a booth there, and we'll be talking to people about, again, using analytics to improve their digital marketing campaigns.
Great. Well, we'll look forward to more information on analytics in retail or outside, B2B, B2C, what have you. So thank you, Mark.
Great. Thanks for having me.
That's it for this episode of Marketing MASH. You can share your thoughts by following us on Twitter and Facebook. Subscribe to our podcast to keep up with the show. And of course, you can always find us by visiting themarketingscope.com.